That night's rain was unlike anything before. In just a few hours, it poured down with the force of an entire year's rainfall. Rooftops trembled, streets turned into rivers, and the dark night sky was torn apart by flashes of blinding lightning. The pounding rain on the tin roofs merged with the howling wind, creating nature's wild symphony. The massive flood struck without warning, sweeping away everything in its path. Sturdy bridges that once connected both sides were torn apart and carried away by the raging waters. The roar of the current mixed with the sound of snapping wood and cracking concrete, creating a scene of chaos. Villagers stood in shock as the only road across disappeared beneath the flood. A massive flood swept away newly built houses, submerging sidewalks and streets. Howling storm winds snapped giant trees, plunging the entire area into chaos and destruction. The massive flood not only swept away bridges, but also triggered severe landslides in many areas. Rocks and soil tumbled down the hills, blocking roads and destroying houses and crops. Slopes turned into torrents of red mud, swallowing everything in their path. Residents scrambled for safety amidst the devastation. The floods were truly terrifying, arriving like giant beasts that swallowed everything in their path. Muddy torrents surged, sweeping away houses, vehicles, bridges, and even sturdy buildings. The roar of the waters mixed with the howling of storm winds formed a chaotic symphony of destruction. Residents could only run in panic, seeking shelter, carrying with them the haunting memory of the disaster. Hoi ChatGPT, Hoi ChatGPT. The massive flood came like a monstrous beast, sweeping away bridges, triggering landslides, and submerging even bustling supermarkets. Muddy torrents surged through, destroying newly built houses, streets, sidewalks, and solid structures. Giant trees were snapped by storm winds, supermarket shelves collapsed, and goods floated away like debris. The roar of water mixed with the cracking of concrete, creating a chaotic symphony that filled witnesses with fear. Every place the flood passed was wiped clean, leaving only mud and ruins. People scrambled for shelter as the entire region sank into a vast, murky sea under a heavy, suffocating darkness. The massive flood came like a monstrous beast, sweeping away bridges, causing landslides, and submerging bustling supermarkets. Muddy torrents surged through, leaving houses completely underwater from roof to foundation, destroying streets, sidewalks, and solid structures. Storm winds toppled giant trees, supermarket shelves collapsed, and goods floated everywhere. The roar of water mixed with the cracking of concrete created a chaotic symphony that struck fear into all who witnessed it. Everywhere the flood passed was wiped clean, leaving mud and ruins behind. People scrambled for shelter as the entire region sank into a vast sea under heavy, suffocating darkness. As raging floods swept away bridges, submerged homes, and destroyed everything in their path, many wondered, was this just a random disaster, or was nature intentionally sending a warning? With forests destroyed, rivers blocked, and soil eroded, it seems nature is striking back with its fury. The floodwaters carried away not just material things, but also human complacency. Perhaps this is a reminder that if we do not live in harmony and respect the environment, such wrath will return again. floods swept away vehicles and submerged streets, while fierce storm winds ripped roofs from houses, sending sheets of metal tumbling through the air. The eerie howling of the wind mixed with the deafening clang of metal, creating a scene of unprecedented chaos. Residents scrambled for shelter, watching helplessly as rooftops vanished in nature's fury. Massive floods struck without warning, sweeping away cars and motorcycles in muddy torrents. Streets turned into rivers. Vehicles were submerged or smashed into each other, ending up dented and severely damaged. Many were carried away for kilometers, reduced to rusting frames once the waters receded. The scene brought not only heavy property losses, but also shock, as people realized the overwhelming power of nature. The massive flood not only swept away bridges and caused landslides, but also submerged supermarkets, striking fear into people's hearts. Torrents of water destroyed everything from streets and homes to solid structures. The roar of the current mixed with the sounds of collapse, creating a chaotic and unforgettable scene. The massive floods not only submerged streets, but also poured into the railway system, leaving many trains underwater. Carriages went dark as water rose to the seats, carrying debris and mud inside. Power systems failed, train wheels rusted, and the tracks turned into small rivers. The scene brought transportation to a complete standstill, with residents watching helplessly. The massive floods not only swept away vehicles and submerged trains, but also completely destroyed construction works. Rising torrents rushed in, tearing down brick walls, collapsing roofs, and toppling even the sturdiest buildings. Bridges, factories, and newly built neighborhoods were erased, leaving nothing but mud and rubble. The entire area was transformed into a wasteland that sent chills to anyone who saw it. Hoi Chat, GPT. Houses near the floodwaters were swept away, many tilting or collapsing entirely. Tin roofs, wooden beams, and household items floated aimlessly in the muddy sea. The roar of the current mixed with the cracking of wood and breaking concrete, painting a scene of chaos and tragedy. From a distance, residents could only watch in silence, powerless against nature's destructive force. Hoi Chat GPT. Houses near the floodwaters were swept away, many tilting or collapsing completely. Tin roofs, wooden beams, and belongings floated in the muddy waters. At the same time, every road in the area was submerged, turning into rivers and bringing all traffic to a standstill. The roar of the current mixed with the cracking of wood and concrete created a scene of chaos and tragedy, leaving residents powerless. Hoi Chat GPT. Houses near the floodwaters were swept away, many tilting or collapsing entirely. Tin roofs, wooden beams, and belongings floated in the muddy waters. Every road in the area was deeply flooded, bringing traffic to a halt. On top of that, storm winds howled, toppling trees and ripping away rooftops, striking fear into people at the sheer force of nature. Hoi Chat GPT. The massive flood not only swept away bridges and caused landslides, but also submerged every supermarket in the area. Rising waters poured in, toppling shelves and sending goods floating everywhere. Lights went out, leaving only darkness and the roar of rushing water, turning bustling shopping centers into a desolate sea.